Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another reading vlog, which is hopefully going to be a weekly reading vlog. I'm not making any promises though, because I keep doing this. The last reading vlog that I did, I originally planned for it to be a weekend vlog, and then it ended up taking me a week to read the book. So apparently I'm struggling recently to work out or judge how long it actually takes me to finish a book. But yeah, the plan is for this to be a weekly vlog. As you probably guessed from the title and the thumbnail, in this vlog I'm going to be reading sapphic books by authors who I've previously loved. So there's 3 books on my tentative TBR. I might only get round to 2 of them, but the first book that I'm going to be picking up is Tell Me Everything by Laura Kay. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots, who I will leave linked in the description, but I'm very excited for this one because Laura Kay wrote The Split, which I read a few months ago, and I think it's one of my favourite books of the year so far, so hopefully this is going to be another 5 stars. This is following a main character called Natasha, who's a therapist, and she's still living with her ex, which is obviously a bit awkward, but then she meets someone and I think that it changes her outlook on love and relationships, or something like that. The second book that I'm hoping to pick up is the Fiancée Farce by Alexandria Bellefleur, which again, really excited for because Alexandria Bellefleur wrote the Written in the Star series, which I really enjoyed. I actually listened to that series on audio, so I'm interested to see what I think of Alexandria Bellefleur's writing when I'm reading it physically. The final book that I'm hoping I'll have time to get round to is Stars Collide, I think is the name of the book, by Rachel Lacey. So Rachel Lacey wrote the, what's it called? Between the Lines, which is a, why can't I remember? Read Between the Lines is a You've Got Mail retelling. Is it You've Got Mail? All I know about Stars Collide is that it's a celebrity romance. But honestly, that's all I really need to know because I love reading about fictional celebrities. Blame Taylor Jenkins Reid and Evelyn Hugo for that. But yeah, that is the plan for this week, is to try and read these 3 books. If I only get around to 2 though, then it's not a big deal. But yeah, very excited to be reading some more sapphic rom-coms because I feel like it's been a while. In fact, yeah, the last sapphic rom-com that I read was probably The Split, and I really enjoyed that. So I will let you know once I have reading updates. I don't have many things planned for this weekend. I was meant to be going to see a friend tomorrow, but I don't think that's happening now, which means a whole weekend of reading, which honestly I need because this week has just been really stressful and I am tired and I need to recover. Good morning. It is now Saturday and I thought I should let you know I have made a start on Tell Me Everything by Laura Kay. I'm hoping you can see that. It's very shiny because this is a library book, but I did make a start on this last night. I'm already 100 pages in, but I'm going to try and show you the text in this book because the spacing is massive. So even though I'm 100 pages in, I don't feel like I'm 100 pages in. I've literally read the prologue and the first 3 chapters. This hasn't been what I was expecting so far. We are following a main character called Natasha, who's a therapist. However, I thought that she's recently gone through a breakup. That's not actually the case. She is living with her ex-girlfriend, but they broke up like 2 years ago and remained close friends. So they decided to continue living together as roommates. But her ex now has a new girlfriend, so Natasha is having to move out because the new girlfriend isn't quite comfortable with the situation. So Natasha is moving in with her friend Poppy, who she's been friends with since university, and I think she used to have a crush on her. I'm not the biggest fan of Poppy. She seems a bit flaky, but we've only met her once, so maybe she'll grow on me the further that we get into the book. Natasha also has a twin sister called Natalie, which is a little bit confusing because people call them both Nat. Natasha has also very briefly met the mysterious Margot, but I don't know what part Margot is going to play in this book. Like I said, this hasn't really been what I was expecting. Natasha has been floating through life without much direction. She has her job, obviously, but otherwise she avoids commitment, and she comes across as someone who's very avoidant, and I think that this book is going to dive deeper into her past and why she is the way that she is. I think there's also going to be a focus on family in this. She has some complicated feelings towards her dad in particular, but honestly her relationship with her mom also doesn't seem great. So I'm really hoping we do dive deeper into that. But yeah, like I said, enjoying it, but it's also not been 100% what I was expecting. I'm finding Natasha quite frustrating so far, but I'm hoping that we see some character growth as we get further into the book. I'm just watching Charlotte's anniversary live show, and then the plan for this afternoon is to pop into town, and then I want to try and film a video this afternoon. I was thinking I might film my mid-year reading stats, but we'll see how I'm feeling because I really just want to relax and read, but also I want to feel productive, so we'll see what actually happens. But I think today is going to be busier than I was expecting it to be.
It's so annoying that you're smart, that your casual conversation, even a short duration, can cover everything from science-based to art. It's so obnoxious that you're kind, that you always have time for family and help out everybody, as if a million things don't occupy your mind. If you could be just a little less perfect, then I could say I don't have time and it's not worth it. But how is a girl to resist you and all the little things you do? Oh, if you can get much better, don't, 'cause it'll get much harder. Can't blame a girl for trying to take it slow. Oh, how is a girl to resist you and all the little things you do? Can I resist you?
So I haven't read that much since I last updated you. I'm currently on page 136, but I wanted to have a little bit of a chat because I love Laura Kay's writing. I think she has this incredible ability to write characters that feel really realistic, and the traits that I'm seeing in certain characters in this book, I've seen those traits in people that I know in real life. So I love that aspect, but I don't like most of the characters. I think the thing is that when I read The Split, the reason that I loved it was because the characters felt realistic but relatable, whereas in this they feel realistic but I'm not relating to any of them. I'm hoping I can get past that though, because I don't need to be able to relate to every single character to be able to enjoy a book, but I'm getting bad vibes from too many characters in this book, and I don't know whether I'm meant to find them charming, but I'm not enjoying it, but also I've not instantly fallen in love with this story. Remember yesterday when I said I have a feeling that this weekend is going to end up being busier than I planned? Well, my mum called me this morning and she's having a spontaneous barbecue this afternoon, and I'm a little concerned because the weather is looking a little bit grey, but it's fine. I'm actually really looking forward to it because I haven't seen my mum for like a month. My sisters are going to be there as well, so it'll be nice to chat and catch up up. But because I'm not going to be doing much reading this afternoon, I read a little more of Tell Me Everything this morning. I'm on page 226. This book promised to be messy, and I can confirm it's delivering on that. I am finding some aspects really funny, like the dialogue is really warm and witty, and I love that. I just don't like the characters, and I think if I knew these people in real life, I would find them so frustrating. But reading about their drama is still fun. So yeah, mixed feelings on this one. I have no idea how it's going to end. Like, there's been hints at what direction it's going to go in, but I'm still not 100% sure. Like, there's so much that's been crammed into this, and yeah, it's very, very messy. I love that the main character is a therapist, and we've seen her holding sessions with her clients. Not as much as I would like, to be fair, but I think that's just because I really enjoy reading about therapy and counselling. I actually did a module at uni, which was like an introduction to counselling module. I never took it any further because counselling as a career in the UK is really difficult to get into. But yeah, I find it all really interesting. I am enjoying certain parts of this. It's mostly the characters that I don't like, but I think I'm warming to them. It's not giving me 5-star feelings, but I think as long as I enjoy the ending, or as long as I don't hate the ending, then it's gonna get like a 3 to 4 stars. I feel like it's been a while since I last updated this vlog. I think the last time I spoke to you was Sunday morning, and it's now Tuesday evening, but I have finished Tell Me Everything by Laura Kay. I think I'm gonna give this a 3 stars, maybe a 3.5. I didn't like the ending, is the main thing. And also, I've already said I found the characters in this really, really frustrating. The main character in particular is basically the opposite of me. So you know how sometimes you'll be catching up with a friend and they'll be talking about a certain situation, or maybe they're just talking about life in general, and it's not like they're looking for advice, but you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, how are you going to get out of that situation? And you're trying to get a response from them, but all they can say is, I don't know, I guess it'll work itself out in the end. It's all going to be fine. And it feels like they'd rather avoid the situation entirely and just not think about it, rather than actually confront what they want. The ending also, to me, felt really rushed, and it felt like things were wrapped up too quickly. The chapters are also massive. Some of the chapters were over 40 pages long, which I don't think was needed. I think it would have flowed a lot better if the chapters had been a little shorter. Just in case I haven't mentioned yet, this also isn't really a romance. Like, there are romantic relationships in it, but it's much more about the main character's personal journey. So yeah, like I said, 3, maybe 3.5 stars. I don't regret reading it because I still enjoyed this for the most part. I do like Laura Kay's writing, and I am interested in reading her next book, which I think came out this year. I can't remember what it's called. Wild Things. There's a little preview at the back of the book, so I do still plan on picking that up, but this was a little disappointing. I have actually already started the next book that I'm going to be reading for this vlog. So before I started reading Tell Me Everything, I did read the first few chapters of the Fiancée Farce by Alexandria Bellefleur. I also read a few chapters here and there over the weekend, but I'm excited to get back into this because what I've read so far I really enjoyed. I think I'm only like 10 to 15% of the way into it, but it's really fun so far. This is basically a marriage of convenience romance. We're following a main character called Tansy, whose family are a bit annoying. They keep asking her about her romantic relationships and she's fed up of it. So she makes up this girlfriend. She tells them that she's been dating this girl called Gemma. I feel like I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this, but basically Tansy is at this family wedding when this girl, Gemma, arrives, and Tansy Tansy's cousin mistakenly thinks that Gemma is Tansy's girlfriend. So Tansy is thinking, oh crap, people are gonna know that I've been lying and that I made the whole thing up. But to her surprise, Gemma actually goes along with it. And not only that, but she announces that they've actually just got engaged. So Tansy is clearly confused, but it turns out that Gemma has to get married in order to inherit her family's business. So they enter into this fake dating, marriage of convenience relationship. I haven't got that far into it, like I said, but that's been the setup so far, and it really throws you right into the deep end. I do tend to prefer a slower build-up, but this has been really fun so far. I'm finding it really entertaining, and it feels like You've Got Mail meets A Cinderella Story, because Tansy also owns a bookshop. Well, she doesn't actually own the bookshop, but she runs her dad's old bookshop, and her stepmom has just announced that she's going to be selling the bookshop unless Tansy can come up with the money to save it. So that's also why she's entering into this marriage of convenience. But yeah, very excited to get back into this. It feels messy, but whereas Tell Me Everything was realistically messy, this feels unrealistically messy, but I think I quite like that. So when I was at the library yesterday, I wasn't going to check out any new books. However, I spotted a few that caught my eye, so I figured I'd bring them home, and if I don't get around to them, then I can always just take them back in a few weeks. But the first book that I saw was Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward, and yeah, because this is quite short, I figured I could maybe try and fit this in this month. I don't even know what this is about. I don't think I want to know what it's about, actually, because the thing about Catriona Ward's books is that they're very difficult to explain without spoilers, so not going to say any more about this book. But yeah, hopefully I can get around to this before the end of the month. And then I also picked up 2 Ruth Ware books, so In a Dark Dark Wood and The Lying Game. These are actually the last 2 Ruth Ware books that I need to read from her backlist, so because I spotted them in hardback, I figured I'll bring them home, and again, hopefully I can get around to these before the end of the month, because I do tend to read Ruth Ware quite quickly. I am now around 40% of the way through the Fiancée Farce. Still really liking it. I really like the chemistry between the 2 main characters. I don't like many of the side characters though, but I think that's been done deliberately. Like, Tansy and Gemma are completely different people. So Tansy is more reserved, and I think it's been mentioned that she has anxiety, whereas Gemma is more extroverted, and she has this complicated family. I mean, they both have complicated families, but Gemma's family in particular, they're quite snobby, and they're very much against this wedding that's going to be happening, but I think that it works that the 2 main characters have contrasting personalities, because it feels like they're bringing out the best in each other. It's not a slow burn. Like, the 2 main characters have been quite open about the fact that they're attracted to each other, which I think is a little unusual for fake dating, because usually with a fake dating romance, there's a lot of back and forth where the characters are thinking, oh, the other person couldn't possibly like me because they're only with me because it's it's a fake relationship, but no, the two main characters have been quite open about their feelings and what they want, which I appreciate. I always love it when characters can communicate. We have also learned a little more about Tansy's backstory, and it was really sad actually. I was feeling myself getting quite emotional at one point, so I would recommend checking the trigger warnings on Goodreads if you need them, because yeah, there's trigger warnings for things like gaslighting and just generally people not being treated very well. My plan is to try and get to the 60% mark tonight and then hopefully finish up tomorrow, because I'm planning to take part in Samhain this month and that starts on Friday. Hopefully I can finish this by tomorrow. I still really want to read Stars Collide though in this vlog, so maybe I could delay Samhain by like a day to give me time to finish the third book, but we'll see how I'm feeling after I've finished the Fiancée Farce. Good morning, it is not even 9 o'clock on Thursday and already I am having a day. So the boiler in our apartment has started leaking, which obviously isn't great. It's not been the best morning, but I wanted to let you know I am going to finish this vlog today. I'm hoping to finish the Fiancée Farce tonight. I read until I think the 70% mark last night, so I should be able to finish the rest this evening and then wrap up this vlog. And yeah, sorry, my brain is like all over the place today because I'm worried about the frickin' boiler. But yeah, I am enjoying the Fiancée Farce still. I feel like it got a little bit slow in the middle, but it started to pick up again, so that's good. The only small criticism that I have at the moment is the villainous characters feel a little too cartoonish and it's a little over the top in that sense, but I'm still having a good time, which is obviously the main thing. Also, I didn't realise until this week that there's two different spellings for fiancé. So apparently fiancé with an E is the masculine spelling and fiancé with two E's is the feminine spelling. I had no idea that there were two different spellings, but I was googling how to spell the Fiancée Farce and yeah, apparently there's two different words for fiancé, so you learn something new every day. But yeah, I need to start work in 10 minutes, so I am gonna wrap up this clip, but I will check in with you once I have finished the Fiancée Farce. Hello everyone, it is now Friday and it's time to wrap up this vlog. I did end up finishing the Fiancée Farce last night and I didn't like the ending. Why does this keep happening to me? The rest of the book, absolutely fine. The middle was a little bit slow and I found myself getting a little bit bored, but then it started to pick up again. And then the actual ending was so corny and I literally couldn't even read it. I had to skim read parts because it was just, yeah, not really my kind of thing. However, I'm still going to give it 4 stars overall because I did enjoy it up until the ending. And I don't think it was a bad ending or anything, it just wasn't for me. I actually think if you like romance books that have low conflict and very little angst, then you might really enjoy this one. I actually also really appreciated the conflict that there was felt realistic and it didn't feel like it came out of nowhere. Of all the books that I've read by Alexandria Bellefleur, this also has the lowest amount of steam. I think there was only one steamy scene in the whole book, which again was a little disappointing, but overall I enjoyed it and I would recommend it if it sounds like your kind of thing. I am going to wrap things up here though. I am a little disappointed that I didn't get around to reading Stars Collide. However, I didn't want to feel like I was rushing to read it just to be able to talk about it in a vlog, because I think I'm really going to love it when I get around to it. I don't think I actually explained what it's about, but it's basically a celebrity celebrity romance between two singers. So I think one of the singers is an established star, but her last album flopped. So her management team have asked her to mentor this new up-and-coming singer, and it's a romance between the two of them. But it's on KU if anyone is interested. I actually got the audiobook as well through Kindle Unlimited, which is why I thought I could include it in this vlog, because I thought I could listen to the audiobook, but I didn't get around to it because I'm already listening to another audiobook at the moment. But I'm gonna start rambling and say thanks for watching if you made it this far. I forgot to mention yesterday we had someone come round to look at the boiler yesterday, and it's all fixed for anyone who was wondering. I know that's really boring, but yeah, it was really stressful yesterday and I'm glad that it's all fixed. Let me know in the comments, what was the last sapphic book that you read and did you enjoy it? Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me, but otherwise I will see you next time. Bye.